By 2030, an estimated 80% of the world's extreme poor will live in unimaginable conditions. Women and children will be forced to live in the slums. As for now, World Vision states there are 736 million people, that's right, million people who live in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty is defined by the World Bank as people living under $1.90 a day. $1.90, that's not even enough to buy a loaf of bread. That is measured using the International Poverty Line. But extreme poverty is not only about low income, it is also about what people can and can't afford. Like I said, they can't afford bread, can't even afford the bus fare to go to work, if they even have a job. I'm going to urge you to donate by the end of this to help prevent further extreme poverty. I'm going to show you the causes of this and propose a solution to poverty. Beginning with the problem. The problem is because people choose not to think about it. If you act like it's not there, you're not going to get it fixed. One of the causes to poverty is discrimination or racial profiling, which is a whole different matter on itself. But based upon current evidence, it's extremely difficult to find a job for certain ethnicities. African Americans have the highest poverty rate, 74.4%, followed by Hispanics, 26.6%, and whites at 9.9%. Even more startling is how children are affected. 45.8% of young children are black, live in poverty, compared to the 14.5% of white children. This is a problem. With no job, how must one support one's family? It is simple, they just can't. Another leading cause is generational poverty. Generational poverty is defined by a family that has lived in poverty for over 2 generations. How generational poverty became a thing is that there is a lack of education for one's children. Without an education, they can't learn to read nor write, which is a key component in today's society in getting a job. How this affects society is it incites gang violence with poor communities. Why? Because people can't afford the basic needs to survive. They don't know right from wrong. So in turn, they must steal and rob those who have it. Research has often concluded that education tends to reduce violent crime. On average, the more time you spend at school, the less violent you will become. Schools don't just teach you about reading, writing, math, science, but teach you how to live in society. Those born into poverty are not going to school because they can't afford it. As stated before, children do not get an education. With no education, they don't know how to read and write, which reduces the success of a child as an adult. They no longer can find a job because they can't read or write, and they don't know how to read a newspaper. Jobs also don't want people that can't read and write, so they can't ever leave this repetitive cycle of generational poverty. Families are shoved into poverty, can't afford to live, so they send their children out to child labor. Owners of coal businesses use child labor because it is cheap. Poverty also leaves many children malnourished. The solution I propose is children must have an education. The child cannot live as an adult without an education. Jobs became less available to those who have little education. You can help those by donating to worldvision.org to help support those who are less fortunate. In conclusion, I urge you to act and help the women and children who can't move out of poverty. You must show them how to live in society and then put them on the back burner and forget about the problem. It hurts the economy because there are not enough jobs created to help such uneducated peoples. Donate to worldvision.org to help move those who are in poverty and out into society.